Hello.
Hey, hey.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, and
What's up?
welcome to another episode of You Can't Sit With Us. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Mother Della Mort, and over here we have our beautiful Akia, as well as our resident demon Hexus. And down here we have Razzle Bedazzle JB Rotten.
There's a demon inside of me. Yeah, that's right. There's semen inside it. That's not what I said. That's not what I
Roll
said.
it back. Roll it back.
And see, I had to have my blackout curtain like going on here because that big bright, whatever that bright ball is in the sky, it is out, and I'm not sure what to do with myself at this point of the day.
Time's changing. The seasons are changing. It's light when it shouldn't be.
I know.
It's
It's
crazy.
just it's enough to drive the mother of all ghouls insane.
It's almost as if this happens every day.
I know.
I know, right?
Does seem
Every
oddly
day.
familiar.
Prometheus Mouse. I know it's
Hey.
still Vice's thing, but I'm saying it. That's now your name. Vice says so. So say it the
Prometheus Mouse?
Vice. Yes. So say it the Vice.
If I says that, you know it's true. That's just a fact.
Exactly. Hey, Jenny.
Hey.
Hey, Mike. Hi, Artemis. Hey, Nadine. Sorry, my voice is pretty much gone.
Nadine.
You have a question, Odd Mother.
So Sophia asked if Odd Mother accepts werewolves. I accept all fiends, ghouls, and ghosts. Yes.
And hello, Chad.
Except for Nazzies.
Except for Nazzies. We're going to kick some Nazzy butt tonight.
Oh, Prometheus, I still feel like shit. But I'm doing good. All right. I'll live.
Oh, I see somebody in the house. Hey, Calvin.
Hey.
I
I'm
almost
just
said it.
Fonz today, in case anyone was wondering. Hey, for everybody.
Oh, and hey, guys, it's the 27th, right? The 27th, Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat comes back. So we are all super excited to have Cool Cat Moneybags back in the house.
Mr. Moneybags is back.
Mr. Moneybags.
Sorry, I didn't
To
mean
make
to
room for my cat to take over my computer, man. My eldest cat loves that show. Like, seriously, he will sit and watch it. It's hilarious. Crowley is Steve's biggest fan.
I'm excited to have him back. I really am. And I'm going to do a little plug here while we're doing a little bit of housekeeping before we get to our squirrel moment, because I know it's going to happen. Look, guys, I know we've got a lot of supporters out there, a lot of friends, a lot of family. You guys, I've seen a bunch of you streaming. All right. So I want to do a plug for Mayonocaster. This is the soundboard and mic system, podcasting system that a lot of us here at the PBDC Collective use. It is extremely affordable in comparison to like some of the other soundboards, things like that. They have whole podcast packages and stuff. So look, if you are looking to better your podcasting ability as far as microphones, they even have gaming microphones, you name it. Do us a solid, go to our website, use our Mayonocaster link, and we will give you a 10% discount on your purchase. So you would type in, using our link, type in once you get to your cart and you're ready to check out, all uppercase, P Bunny, P as in Paul, BUNNY DC, and get your 10% off at checkout. So do us a solid on the Mayonocaster. I don't think you'll regret it. These things are great. You can pick them up, take them to cons, because they have a total battery, like chargeable battery and stuff like that in them. And super quick to set up. So there's my plug.
Another cool thing you can use them for if you're in the film world and you got to do a lot of audio on set. It's really hard when you're out in the woods, you're doing outdoors, like setups to have power. That's a big problem. You can use these.
Well, and these things are Bluetooth capable too, so that's awesome. Like if you've got like a Bluetooth lavalier or something like that.
Oh yeah. So for your filming needs, your podcasting needs, and there's a lot of things you can do with this thing.
Yep. So go to psychobunnydc.com. We've got Mayonocaster links all over our pages. All you got to do is click on that and peruse their website and buy something and use our code. Get 10% off.
We have a question from Chad.
Hello, Chad.
is yeah, the fam lifted on high kind of things at Magical 420 to help with the seizures like the usual. At least I am.
What?
I'm not the one who has
420?
seizures, by the way.
That would be
But
Dell.
that would be Dell, yeah. She's very open about it, which is why we're willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
It's my sister, and I'll
no,
talk shit about her all day.
today I'm not. Today I am high on, strep throat.
I'm high. I'm totally high. I'm always high.
And Flexeril.
And I'm just drinking my coffee because it's not legal in my state yet.
Yeah, my vape is somewhere over there.
Natalie, if you walk 15 feet into the woods in Georgia, I'm pretty sure you're going to find a pot filled.
I'm sure I probably would.
Maybe.
Because where I live is a goddamn anomaly. We are 30 minutes from everywhere.
Reminds me of Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Oh
That's
yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
a geographical anomaly. We're 2 weeks from everything.
I love that movie. I haven't seen that in a bit.
I love that movie.
So I'm a goddamn dapper damn man.
Oh, and by the way, we are not 10 minutes in, so we can say goodbye to our YouTube monetization for this stream.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Well, we are raging against the machine today, guys. I
We
think
are.
you guys are going to enjoy this this
Oh
topic.
yeah, we were actually going to get yeah, we're probably gonna get demonetized for this one anyway. So
Oh no.
let's be real.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Fuck that.
So having said that, send us all your money, buy all our stuff.
Yeah, we need the monetization.
Psalms for the
Sven.
poor. Psalms for the poor.
Hey Sven.
So just get this out of the way real fast, guys. We will be getting to comments when we get have a chance to, because this is the actual podcast side of
Starting
things.
now, yes.
Starting now.
Well, I was
Are you
saying
sure
hi to get all the
we don't-
hellos out of the way?
Are you sure we don't want to do this?
Wait. Oh, we can. We're gonna turn this into an hour.
You hear that?
I mean, I was just getting all the hellos out of the way, is what I said.
I haven't seen Sven in here in a while, actually. I think it's because we're on earlier now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
By the way, go Team Pterodactyl.
Call.
Yay.
Caw.
If you guys have not voted for me today, head on over to scurryface.com, Group B, and vote for Akademon. And if you have not voted for JB Rotten today, head on over to Scurryface Group A and do the same damn thing. Click,
Do
click, bloody
it.
click.
And if you're not down with that, Frank's got 2 words for you.
I gotta go turn the heater off. That's more like 5.
Yeah, that's 5 words.
I don't think those were the words he was looking for, but okay.
Those words
Hey,
work. I mean,
Tia. Saying hi to everybody. Yes! Yes! I need sleep too, guys. I do, but let's do this. All right. You good? All right.
We ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. Hold on.
Action.
Now, I was all prepared. Now I'm completely unprepared. All right. So tonight, guys, we are talking about the Bielski brothers, the Bielski
Bielskis.
brothers, the
Bielskis.
Bielski brothers.
wow.
Look, I hate to say I'm not Jewish, guys, and
You're
I always murder Polish. I always murder words that are hard for me to pronounce. So
By the
anyway,
way, you were both right. They're Jewish and Polish, so
yes.
I just wanted to clarify this.
Well, they
Belarusian.
they
It's
hid from
cool.
the
I'm
Nazis.
honorary Jewish, so I got your back.
They hid
Okay.
from the
right.
Nazis by
Cool.
putting a screen door on the forest.
The Nazis. We're gonna kill
Okay,
some
and
Nazis. We're gonna
there's
rage against the
There's
machine.
how we got kicked off Facebook tonight.
We haven't got kicked off.
So anyway, the Bielski brothers, they were 3, technically 4, but the youngest, his main job was to just stay alive. So, who defied the what do we call them? The Nazis. Nazis.
I was calling
They
them
built a
Izans.
village in the Nilbuki forest and saved at least 1,200 Jews during World War II in Belarus. Tuvia Bielski, Alexandra Zeisel Bielski, and Aaron Bielski, as well as Asael Bielski. were the four brothers, establishing a large partisan camp, which is what they were referred to were the partisans. They participated in a resistance activities against the Nazis' occupation of the country, and so saved, like I said, up to at least 1,200 Jews from the Nazis. The brothers, witnessing their parents and two other siblings led away to their eventual murders, which was actually, I don't know if you caught some of that information that I sent you, Hexus, was actually awful. They were shot in a pit, and like whoever didn't get shot,
they were
just covered over with dirt to the point where it took 3 days for the dirt to stop moving. There were people that were still under there.
When I was listening to Dan Cummings' time suck on this, because this episode was kind of put together at the last moment. We were like, we just needed have a palate cleanser, like you said. But it wasn't just 3 days; it was like over a week for some of them to.
Was it over a week? Yeah,
because it just to give people a reference on how the Nazis like to do things back in the day, they would shoot one, have them chained or tied to the other person, and then just push them into the pit. And that's how that's how they saved ammunition. It was a very terrible way of dying, and it was also meant to make people suffer because they're absolutely fucking terrible people, the Nazis.
Yeah,
and they deserved everything they got.
Exactly. And
no argument there.
Yeah. But anyway, they were led away to their eventual murders. This really enraged the brothers, of course. They fought back against the Germans and their collaborators, waging guerrilla warfare in the surrounding areas. Like, these guys were badasses. They didn't take shit. Now, by using their intimate knowledge of the dense forests surrounding the towns of Lida and Novogrudek, the Bielski brothers evaded the Nazis and established a hidden base camp and set about convincing other Jews to join their ranks. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of what we're going to be talking about.
They one of the things too that they had the lowest number of deaths from any
50.
partisan.
50.
Well, 50
overall,
total.
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the one thing that people have to take in consideration with what they were doing, so the partisans, what partisans were, they basically was militia. Their job was basically guerrilla warfare and stuff like that. So a lot of these guys actually got, a lot of them took a lot of the partisans, militias took a lot of casualties because their predominantly their main focus was battle, going in and destroying, killing, doing whatever they can to cause major problems for the Nazis and stuff like that. The Bielski brothers, their main job was to save the Jewish people and stuff like that. That's what their idea was. So they're gonna have a lowest of all, but it's also because their main job was to stay hidden until, what was it, in 1943? I think it was, is when they started going in with the Red Army and stuff like that, and helping destroy a lot of stuff. They destroyed a lot of locomotives and stuff like that, buildings that the Nazis were using, but yeah, sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think the thing that I find odd, and it's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, is when the Bielski brothers, when they were growing up in the area which I think it was like Stankovic or something.
Yeah, no, you said it right. That's what it
was. So the area they lived in, even though the surrounding areas, there was a very high population of Jewish people, except for the area that they lived in. And they had no sympathy for not Nazi sympathizers at all. And they would come in and they would take care of business if it was needed. If there were people that were reporting to them or they were doing things badly to, I think there was one case where a Jewish girl was raped or something. And they went in there and they wiped that whole crew away. I mean, it was just regular people, but they were taking advantage of the situation and being very cruel to another human being.
One of the things,
and the Bielski brothers didn't put up with that.
I was listening to on there, and it was actually hilarious because the way there's a podcast called Let Them Fight, and
hmm
I just discovered it in the day because I was trying to do a ton of research on this.
I listen to them too. Yeah.
Yeah, they described the Bielski brothers and their encampment as Appalachian Jews.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, that's why they were like a force to be reckoned with. They were the mountain Jews. They were the rednecks. And they were like, we have all the guns and we're gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the Soviets didn't treat them much better either,
No.
before that area of Belarus was taken over by the Germans. I
One of the
believe
things I
that the
don't
Bielski brothers, their parents had a shop or something, and that
oh
was taken away from them by the Soviets. And that's how they became millers.
the one of the things they brought up in some of the podcasts was like, well, they were talking about like how when peacetime came was like really, if you thought about it, they didn't really, I know they didn't say this, but any freedom fighters, the Russians did not tolerate them after the war either. They were sent to gulags,
No.
and they don't talk about that, but that's what
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
Every once in a while, we will get to comments when they're super.
They build
you know,
up.
they I'm sorry, when they are poignant to what we're talking about at
Okay.
the moment. I wanted to point one out from Sven.
Vice, hello, Vice.
My
Mm.
granddad was in the German resistance.
Nice.
Oh wow.
I just wanted to point that out because that was rad. And said
Yeah.
for here, hi. Thank you. Okay. And there were smugglers, he was saying.
Yes, that was one of
Yeah.
the things they actually the Bielskis are also that was one of the people were trying to say in the area too that they were what was it Odd Mother that because they were smugglers, they were basically some of the pro German supporters and stuff like that were like, oh, they're absolutely terrible people. It was like, no, that's what they had to do. They had to
Yeah,
smuggle.
that's what you had to do things like that to survive. I mean, because like I said, even the Soviets and the Red Army saw, unfortunately, the Jewish population as the less than people.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot different than the Nazis, other than they didn't do
no.
mass genocide and things like that. But they kind of had the same,
Basically, the Red Army at the
bigoted
time was
idea.
the Red Army at the time was the lesser of two evils. But
Exactly.
they ended up turning into being
My
just as
enemy
bad.
is my friend. My enemy of my
So-
enemy is my friend.
Like
How many
speaking of
of-
the culture, like we're like like that sort of situation, like smugglers, rebels, things like that. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not the same country, but my ex-wife, my first wife, her parents were Cuban refugees, and they actually met because my ex-wife's father and his sister were two of the people that were high up trying to get people out of Cuba to save them from what was going on.
Mhm.
And their whole family made a pact that until everyone got amnesty and was allowed to go back home to Cuba, that none of them would go back. And it was a lot of cultural stuff. I got a chance to like hear a lot of like really detailed stories about, man, and like that sort of scenario it's insane.
Wasn't
Like you can't
there-
imagine all this shit you got to deal with.
Raz, wasn't there a documentary on that or something?
Huge documentary. In
It was,
fact, some
in,
relatives
like,
of theirs were in the
81 or something
documentary.
like that, wasn't it? It was like 81 Scarface, wasn't it?
Well, that was a whole different documentary.
Hello.
Now that one, that's my favorite documentary about that time. And also, One of the Dead was another great documentary about
Mhm.
that situation.
Well, I when I was doing research on the Bielski brothers, I found a documentary on YouTube, and I'm not going to really like say the names and things like that because it was more of kind of a public stream for like a memorial for a Jewish heritage site
Okay.
out of, I believe it was Vancouver. So, and they've got like a lot of family and stuff like that that's still alive. But it was just really interesting hearing stories that were passed down through the family from parents and grandparents that actually lived through this. Like, we have no earthly idea what these people had to go through. We have no concept of what these people had to go through during this time, and being victimized by the Nazis.
They were literally you were a wanted person simply because you existed at the time. That's all it was. That's exactly how the Jewish
And
population
it was
of
about
Europe
psychologically breaking people.
Yeah.
I mean, we may want to throw up that display, that warning sign.
Yeah.
Which one?
We probably
The
should go through them.
yeah.
Yeah, let's go through all of them real fast. Hey, babe, it's your time to shine. 'Cause
Oh, there's a trigger warning.
Yeah, there
Yes.
we go.
Yep. So, under the fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking any permission. Pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107, certain uses of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of the copyright. Thank you. Yep, we already did the trigger warning.
this
So
is a different warning.
the related content may be disturbing to some individuals.
Yeah.
There was one other comment that I wanted to bring up that was poignant to the time.
Okay.
Cannibal says, my great grandfather came from Germany too. They didn't like what was going on there, so they went to Canada and then they came to the United States. My great grandmother was also brought over from Germany, and she remembers seeing the Statue of Liberty on her way into the port. She was a toddler at the time.
Wow. That just
That's
gives me
powerful.
shovel bump. That just gives me shovel bump. But
Except-
getting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, except for we blame Canada for everything. That's what we do.
Canada.
Except for their
real
syrup. They've got some pretty
anyway.
rad syrup.
Now, they have apologized for Bryan Adams many times.
They, you know,
they actually do have some good whiskey.
I can't go behind people who use Kraft's peanut butters as a condiment.
Now, mind you, that's
can't.
where I'm planning on retiring. Like when
Yeah.
when my life is done, I'm just going to move to Canada and never be seen again. I'm going to like wander into the wilderness and be a new cryptid, and that's just how my story ends.
Well, see, I could probably
It's
stay
all
for a
about-
while because I do like mayonnaise on my hamburger.
I like mayonnaise on a hamburger. It's not bad.
I
I like
do not.
mayonnaise with French fries.
Same.
I will have
But-
mayonnaise with French fries in a second. I don't care. And malts vinegars. I'm sorry. I'm speaking just like freaking Letterkenny.
Calm down, Noe.
Sushis and sashimis.
Jimmy. But one of the things that they were talking about in this documentary, that was passed down to this young girl, she had just graduated from college, and I guess she was doing like a thesis or something on the experiences that some people went through or remember that actually survived the Holocaust, and in this area, because they were talking about the Bielski Brothers and things like that. There was a time that once the Germans had come into the surrounding area, and I want to say it was Lida, which was one of the nearby towns.
Yes.
They had called. The Germans had made a call for, I want to say, 20 of the most beautiful young girls, to basically come to the town square, and so you didn't have a choice; you had to go. And so they went, and they said when they got there, everybody, and they were supposed to be all dressed up. Everybody was all dressed up, and the Nazis were playing music, and had all the German lawyers and doctors and people of importance within the Jewish community in the town square, and basically danced around them and shot them. And just completely wiped them out. And the only reason that those girls were there was to basically clean up the blood. And it was just like a big party to these people. It was just absolutely insane.
One of the things the Nazis, what they did was they basically just drafted a ton of serial killers.
Yeah.
That's how they did it. The Death's Head Squadron was no joke,
Yeah.
nothing but a bunch of serial killers.
Yeah.
And they would literally let them once Poland, that's where they really started. They just let them go.
Mhm.
You know, they were like, here you go, go out there and start killing everybody as much as you want. And it was just, they're absolutely just, Germany was very terrible at the time. Very terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there were a lot of people, I'm sure, within the military that didn't agree with what was going on. But to go along with it, I mean, it's guilt by association. I'm sorry.
Definitely.
It is.
I was thinking about that, and it's very, very true too. But also, I was doing the whole, what is it? I just drew a blank. Be kind of like envision the other side of things, is like what made these people like kind of go along with it. And it's like everyone at the time was just afraid for their lives from these monsters.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not
Devil's
saying it's
advocate.
right. Yeah, devil's advocate. They were completely afraid for their lives. Everyone, it didn't matter, peasants, everybody was ready to be killed by they were expecting to be killed by Nazis and stuff like that. And they did everything they could in their minds. And you're gonna have your Judases over there, is what no joke. People were just
Yeah.
super afraid.
Yep.
It's not right. Like I said, it's not right. And the Bilskis, when they found out people who were supporters of the Nazis and stuff like that, they literally went and burned their houses down and
Yeah.
tore up their
Yeah.
businesses
And
and
wiped them
everything like
out.
that.
Oh yeah.
And
Family,
rightfully
whole
so.
family. Yeah.
You know,
So I don't know.
It's really-
I would have had to be. I would have been compelled because there were a lot of really good people that did help.
I would have been
You know,
compelled as well.
I would have been compelled. I mean, I would not have been able to live with myself if I did not help
Nope.
Oh yeah.
people like
It's a
that.
situation you have to stand up and do the right thing, especially when it's hard. You know,
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of people I don't think they understand. Like you always have to do the right thing. You can't just pick and choose when.
Yeah.
And
You also
it's not always
too,
comfortable.
you have to look into like the psychology behind like even like countries and stuff like that. Like the Europe at the time, even now, Europe is basically just kind of told to be complacent, sit down, shut up. Americans, on the other hand, we're there's no I mean, we're an actual war tribe, is what America is. We've always been a war tribe, and and again, not to play devil's advocate here again, but it's easy for us because we're gonna, no matter what, we're honestly waiting for the zombie apocalypse over here in
Yeah, we are.
America.
Well,
And
that's the whole part of how this country came about,
Yeah.
as far as the United States of America it was born out of rebellion.
Exactly, and we're ready to fight. The minute shit goes down, we're like, "Wait, you're taking our freedom away from us, and you're taking other people's freedom away from me? Yeah, we're gonna go in there and do this." These people, it's so. I mean, they're literally the very definition, and I hate to say it this way, of peasants. You know, and then because you had during the Bielski brothers, when they came out, they had people that they were trying to rescue from the ghettos, and they were like, "No, we're gonna stay here.
Yeah.
We're the workers. Don't worry about it, man. They're not going to kill the workers. We're not going to die." That's one of the things that the people wouldn't leave the ghettos because they were trying to rescue them and get them out. And they were just like, no, don't worry about it. They're not going to throw us in camps and everything like that. Which is the minute the Nazis started losing and stuff like that, they started liquidating the camps. And what people now don't understand is when they said liquidation, they started killing everybody.
Well, and you know, I wanted to bring that up because there was a story that I wanted to tell, and it goes to specifically leads back to the Bielski brothers. Now there was a labor camp in a town by the name of, and I mentioned it a moment ago, Nova Grudok,
We'll just say Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia labor
That's where the
camp.
mutants are.
All
Leave
right.
Nova Scotia alone.
So the Nazis, the Nazis, the terror that they ensued in that particular area. Now, it did begin in 1942, and the extermination of the town's Jewish population was part of Operation Reinhard. Of the 20,000 inhabitants of the town before the war, approximately half were Jews. The Germans murdered about 9,500 of the Jews in a series of actions and sent the remaining 500 Jews to that slave labor camp. And those actions were there were 5 different episodes. And I mean, it almost brought tears to my eyes listening to this. One of those, they would systematically go through, and they went through this 5 times. On one occasion, as they sent out the mothers and fathers, the Germans came in and did a raid of just the children. And, you know, a lot of the families would try to hide their children. Some were better than others about hiding their children in walls and different stuff like that. But they even like brought dogs in to find the children and different things like that. And they wound up getting the largest majority of the children in that particular labor camp. They would throw them out of windows. they would throw the very young up into the air and use them as target practice. They would slam them against the walls. So there was, I'm sorry, this kind of teared me up a little bit, but there was one mother who was she was a nurse, and she was forced to work in a German hospital, and she was able to get her hands on some morphine. And there were some parents that were able to hide their children well enough, but they knew that there was going to be another culling very soon. And so these parents had to make the choice of giving their children morphine to keep from having the Germans do
Yeah,
that to the kid.
it it was basically a quick death versus a slow death.
Right.
But
And
could you imagine? That would have been an awful choice.
it's something I don't think we're ever going to understand at all. Like you said earlier, we're
Mhm.
not, because we've never been faced with hardships like this. We've
No,
never had
not at
to
all.
run and hide simply because we were born.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
The farm that I grew up working on part-time, like, so when we were in Tennessee a lot, half the time was spent on the reservation, half the time was the other side of our family working at a farm. The farm next door had always been like a close with my family. Well, I found out one day what had happened to like the original family that was there before them, because they found all these books and diaries. What happened right around World War II? Uh, Farms were basically getting gutted by the government for the
Yeah.
metal, for the resources, for their food, like getting gutted. And this family, they were the only farm there at the time in the area, and they had nothing. And so they sold off what little wasn't taken. They ended up locking down every room in the farmhouse and just being in the central room where the fireplace was. And it got to the point
Mhm.
where they had no food, no wood, no anything. And the guy ended up killing he had 5 daughters, young. Like oldest one was like
Mhm.
13, and killed his daughters and his wife, and then went to the barn, finished writing his journal, and then hung himself because he didn't know what to do. And I've actually
What
got a
else
chance
to
to like
do? Yeah.
talk to his family. I've seen the journals. I looked a lot into the history of it. It was a very insane thing. Like you can't be prepared. Like especially when you're a parent. Like
Mhm.
what the hell would you do in that situation?
Well, in this particular labor camp, now they did wind up getting down to 250 people, slave labor, and they knew that their time was coming too, and they were kind of at that same spot. What do we do? We know eventually they're going to come in here and they're going to kill us too. And this particular group of intern Jews wound up digging. It took them 6 months to do it, but they dug a tunnel.
Oh, I do.
Did you hear
That
about?
was actually
Yeah, they dug a
to the
tunnel and
forest.
actually escaped. And the Bielski brothers they were waiting for them. They knew they had gotten out what they were doing, just within the partisan community, and they were there to save them. And a lot of them, the ones that did survive, there were a few that stayed back. They were terrified. They were like, "No, we could be killed." Well, you're going to be killed anyway.
There
At least,
also a lot of
but
them
they
too. They're
became
like
part of that encampment. So
a lot of them too were like, we just don't know how to survive in the woods either.
yeah,
They're like, we
yeah.
couldn't survive. We can't. So I think I can't remember which podcast I was listening to earlier. I think it was the Let Them Fight podcast, but they were even talking about on there like how some of them were like, we can't deal with the mosquitoes at first. We don't know how to. I mean, we don't know how to deal
Mhm.
with the mosquitoes. And people, when you say something like that, you're like, oh, you just don't want to go out there. It's like, no. They literally don't understand, because at the time malaria was very, very bad anywhere.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if these guys,
That and typhus. Typhus was
typhus,
really
all
bad
that stuff,
too. Yeah.
Typhus.
the Bilskis, and actually we do need to get in there and actually explain who the Bilskis were, like the brothers and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
they ended up settling in a swamp, and it took them where they were walking like waist high in mud for like 3
Mhm.
hours.
Like
It
this
was
this is a serious like forest. This is not like some little patch of woods. Like I think this particular forest takes up a large
it
majority of Belarus, if I'm not mistaken.
it quite literally is that forest that you would think about like when there's a evil like castle in the middle of it, and there's just the knights and all this other stuff have to grow because that's what it was. That's
like castle.
It's the Dark Ages forest.
I was thinking more along the lines of Malevolent in the Dream World.
Yeah.
Where the forest just keeps moving and it doesn't seem to end because it's constantly moving.
Yeah. My brain went to the Troma films Subspecies with Radu the Vampire. Because that was very much like that castle and like the woods surrounding it and stuff.
The Bloodstone.
Yeah, they're putting on another one, by the way, out of nowhere.
Wait, didn't the actor who played the main no, he's still alive, right?
Oh yeah, he's still alive. He just the guy that runs not Troma, sorry, Full Moon just moved to Ohio recently.
I was about to say, I was like, wait, there's no way that was a Troma film.
It was Full Moon, but he moved to Ohio recently and restarted like Full Moon, and he's doing a lot of movies here in town.
Moon.
So he's doing new Puppet Masters and new Subspecies, like right here in Ohio.
Puppet Masters rad. But yeah, the Subspecies was one of my favorites. I love just the atmosphere of it, everything like that. It was so cool because you finally that was actually a time where vampires were actually just gory.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no sparkles. No leather jackets.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Heck. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Raz.
No, I would just say no leather jackets and 80s music or people with saxophones.
Big hair.
That freaking saxophone, man.
That's the next video I'm going to make is I'm going to reface me on the saxophone guy.
Dear God, no.
But
I'm going to do it.
At least,
no. Dear God, no.
At least the Lost Boys had gore and stuff like that in there. The vampires were fucking rad.
And guys with saxophones humping the air.
Well,
Death by stereo.
I don't remember the lyrics.
Can I mention? I think we already did go over some of these key facts, but there's one that I'm not sure if we did touch base on. I mean,
okay.
What?
No, I said, Go ahead.
I guess it's rehashing since we had more people come in. We'll just call it that. So the key facts of what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the Bielski Brothers. And so the first key fact would be that they were operating in Western Belarusia, which was Belarus, between 1942 and 1944. And they were the Bielski partisan group. It was one of the most significant Jewish resistance efforts against Nazi Germany during World War II.
Yeah. They're, like I said, the partisan, the whole thing with the partisan, like I said, it's what we consider a militia here in the United States.
Yeah.
Yes, basically. So, second one would be, while its members did fight against the Germans and their collaborators, the Bielski group leaders emphasized providing a safe haven for Jews, particularly women, children, and elderly people who managed to flee into the forests.
Yeah.
3, under the protection of the Bielski group, more than 1,200 Jews survived the war. One of the most successful rescue efforts during the Holocaust. And yes, Sven, number 4, they kicked ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a way to describe them, and at first I was like, they're actually the original Inglourious Bastards. And I started thinking about, no, the Inglourious Bastards were freedom fighters, and they went in to cause problems, whereas the Bielskis, like I just said, they were there to save people. And
maybe
then if they needed to,
Boondock Saint.
There you go. I love
there you
those
go.
movies.
Yep.
Should we get to comments since we have to?
Yeah, before we go more into the
all right, so again,
we'll get to
guys,
the comments real fast.
We're going to be getting to comments and intervals, so please don't get offended that we're not like saying immediately hi. So I mean, Joshua Paul Shawnowitz says,
hello,
Marxist Leninists are no better than them Nazis.
Yeah, that was the one thing before you bring up the next comment. The Marxist Leninists, when they were done with the war, a lot of the soldiers, a lot of the freedom fighters, the people who believed in the Great Patriot War, that was what Russia called it. We obviously it was World War II for us. A lot of them were sent to gulags because they knew what they were doing. These same people who fought to free people would turn around and fight the Russian government at the time. And I'm, like I said before, I'm pretty sure the Bielskis, they didn't say anything else would happen after the war other than they lived in peace for about a year. But I'm pretty sure in Poland, the Russians were like, no, you're going to a gulag. We're not going to have
a lot of them came to, the Bielski brothers, a lot of them came to America eventually.
Yeah, some of them moved to Israel too, I think.
Yeah.
He also says we're about to learn.
Yes.
So Sven says, first they took the guns, then they came for the kids, induction like Hitler Youth, and your kids start to spy on you because they're completely brainwashed.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was definitely social engineering.
Oh, definitely. And then wait, where did it go? Dang it. Whatever. Joshua says, "How dare we put mayonnaise on our burgers? We're blasphemers." And
I agree with
lunatics.
you.
There we
I
go.
agree.
You're supposed to. Okay, so you're supposed to
Nope.
smear a thin layer of mayonnaise on the bun. You put that down on the cast iron, toast it, and it's better than toasting it with butter. It comes out even better.
I just put mayonnaise on it. I don't give a shit.
I'm sorry. I know
I'm
how
not
to
trying to
cook.
be
I'm just
fancy.
kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
All right, so I just found
Ketchup
out
and honey mustard.
we made a real cheese sloppy Joe sandwich. And they were so good.
Yum.
Sounds delicious.
And we weren't even high.
So Sven said, and if you don't follow orders, your whole family will be sent to the gas.
Yep.
Yep.
And then he mentioned,
Or simply shot.
that's true.
Yeah.
Just imagine a bunch of World War I veterans on schnapps and amphetamines going berserk.
Yeah. That's basically what the Bielskis were. I think. No, I think at the most they were interpreter. One of them was an interpreter in World War I, wasn't it, Natalie? Or,
Well,
I'm just saying.
Tuvia, the leader, he was actually conscripted into the Red Army prior to World War II.
Oh, right. And then
He had past military experience.
and then it was disbanded almost immediately when the Luftwaffe came over or something like that.
Yeah, they were like, "See ya, you're on your own." I mean, pretty much that's what they told him. You're on your own. Bye.
The Luftwaffe, whatever. I don't know.
Well,
The
did you call them
German,
the
the German
Luftwaffe?
Air Force was before
The Nazi
Blitzkrieg.
waffles.
The Nazi
blue
waffles.
waffles.
They
Yeah.
they fire they basically fired the town, and then when everyone retreated into the woods, this is another thing. So initially, when everything started here, the German Air Force they set incendiary bombs. They dropped them and burned up the town. People fled to the woods, and then they saw that and they're like, okay, we're burning up the woods too. And that's exactly what they did. And then immediately, almost right after that, where he was drafted into, they were disbanded almost immediately. And they're like, "You're on your own." That's exactly what was said to him.
Yep.
You're on your own.
They did say that. You're on your
Get the
own.
fuck out.
Bye.
So Sven said, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's Nazi, not Nazi. And I said,
It's
we're
Nazis.
just trying to keep the Facebook Gestapo from coming after us.
Yeah.
And then Mark responded.
Mark Naziberg.
Just use NSODAP.
Mark Limbo.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the other one.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
But I said, but
Luftwaffe.
Mark responded.
Yeah.
Not you, Mark. I'm talking about the other Mark. Wow, that sounds like.
He says, just use NSDAP party. That's more of a tongue twister.
Well,
Yeah.
You can say National Socialist Workers Party. How about that? Because that's exactly that was the
let's just-
acronym.
let's just- whatever. Sven also said the German soldiers in Stalingrad used to say, first we take on the Russians, then we clean out Berlin. Wow.
Yeah.
And Amelia was offended by the vampire talk. I just wanted to let you know.
I like
Don't worry, I got a saxophone
vampires.
for you.
Like, bring up her comment for us so we can actually see her face real fast. I like vampires like this. There is blood all over Amelia right now, which is
Yes.
awesome. That's how vampires are supposed to look. Gore.
Kind of like, what is
everywhere.
it? 30 Days of Night.
Oh, I love
Yes.
I love that one, man. That's why I don't go to Alaska.
You know, my only problem with that is
Vampire problem.
I think they should stop doing the CG mouth thing and just
Yeah.
give them spike
You know,
teeth. I hate
Blade
that
made
whole-
that super popular. Then by the time they got to like Blade 2 with the Nosferatus, they overdid that so fucking bad, dude. They ruined
Okay,
it
but
for
there was
everybody.
a purpose there for Blade 2 for
But
that.
there
because
was,
it
but-
opened up, and Guillermo del Toro did try to use as much practical
Yeah.
effects as possible.
It's just like after that, everyone grabbed that, and then they did it horribly because they didn't know how to do it well, and it just kind of ruined it.
Oh yeah, and then they messed it all. They messed it up even more in I Am Legend. Okay, so the whole original premise, if you've seen the Will Smith one, I Am Legend, it's
Yeah.
vampires. But then they were like mutant zombie vampires in
When
that
their
one.
face is stretched and stuff, it just
It was
looked
like,
so. Yeah,
it just
so
did not look right.
It looked
Ridiculous.
cheap, in my opinion.
Yep.
Like there's cheap
Agreed,
practical
William.
effects. These were cheap, like visual effects. They just weren't good.
Yeah, I think they could actually do it now. I think they need to get back to practical effects, at least with vampires and
I
horror
miss
movies and stuff
practical
like that.
effects. You know, the new
I
Evil
miss
Dead
them too.
in tradition
Oh, it
is
looks
mostly practical.
so
It's
Yeah.
largely
good.
practical. Just that was like one of the things that was set up. Like you've got to stick with doing practical if you're doing an Evil Dead movie.
I just don't understand how come. I mean, I'm hoping that even though Bruce
Nope.
Campbell is not going to be in it, that he just pops in there somewhere. He's
You know,
got to.
Sam just released the other day in an interview again saying that he's really hoping to talk Bruce into coming out of retirement because he always wanted to do another one with Bruce, especially after
Mhm.
the TV show failed. Because now we're getting the sequel to the TV show in animated form, guaranteed. It's happening.
Well, no,
And
that's one
then,
thing Bruce Campbell did say. He stepped away from the physical aspects
yeah,
of the
he couldn't
role.
do the
The
physical, but
video games and the animated side of it, he's going to keep doing.
he signed on for 2 more video games and the animated series. And then now there's some rumors where we may get like the Ultimate Evil Dead universe that has him, Mia from the remake that wasn't a remake,
The
and
remake was
then
fucking awesome. I loved
and
it.
whoever the survivor is going to be in the new one. They're talking about like putting them together with the sidekicks from
They
the TV show and doing like a whole like world event.
they
Oh,
originally
that
were
would be
It's a
supposed to.
rumor, but
That's why he pops up at the end credits of the original one, and he says groovy because he
groovy.
actually woke up in that world, not
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, he
the
didn't
not
wake
the
up in the
world.
world. What happened is that's when he was in coming back from Army of Darkness, and his car got back before he did, which is why his car was in the driveway in that movie.
Well, but he does wake up because that potion does put him to sleep,
Yeah.
and it
It
transports him.
yeah.
Sorry.
The way he got transported, the car actually made it back before he did was the whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sorry. We're squirreled out on Evil
yeah,
Dead.
sorry.
We're talking about killing Nazis and stuff like that, and we scrolled out on
Yeah,
Evil Dead.
Ash would definitely kill Nazis
I would
though.
like to bring this part up real fast because we do need to acknowledge that they aren't like that anymore for the most
Mhm.
part.
Yeah,
So Sven says, I want to
definitely.
bring my tribe here. We are mostly not Nazis anymore. Pros.
Oh yeah,
It's interesting because my boy Matt over here, he's doing like on Minecraft stuff. He's putting flags up. He's like, I want to do like a German flag, but I don't want to. This was like right before the show started. He's like, but I'm worried
Mhm.
that might be controversial or it might make someone upset. And I was explaining to him that that's not
look,
not a
Mhm.
thing there, and that's not something that's like celebrated. That's not something that's going to offend people. And
the
we got a
original,
chance to talk about that for a few minutes.
the German flag right now is the original flag. They went back to it,
Yeah.
because that one with the crooked man running that was a pretty offensive flag. People got a little mad at that one.
But that's the cool part about this, like, because we're going through these things together, and we could bring up little side topics like this, and what Sven said
Mhm.
is exactly right. Like, that's
Yeah.
not something that like we should be associating with with them anymore. There's just a lot of trains
Oh
of thought
no.
on that, like a lot of different ways to
When
see it.
we
I don't think people think
say
about that enough.
when we say right now, okay, so in the reference what we say when we say German army, we are referring to the German army of
Nazi.
1930s. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not referring to Germans now or anything like that.
No. Well,
Obviously they're not the
and
same people anymore.
this goes back, and this is the thing that really perplexes me. You know, I'm a huge history buff, and I really, honestly, I am strongly stubborn about the fact that history is important. What we're doing right now is important because human beings are visual. We're visual creatures. We have to have reminders of what came before us so that we don't make these mistakes again. And I don't understand why. And history is not meant to be pleasant. It's meant to be offensive. Like, it's good if you're offended by history. That means you're not going to make the mistake again. But you have a lot of these, like what's going on now? We're having to say Nazis because we're not supposed to talk about it. That's the best way for that kind of stuff to happen again is by not acknowledging it and not talking about it. And that
I'm
really,
just having fun
pisses me off.
I'm just having fun saying the word Nazi because I'm using it because of
Inglorious Bastards.
well, not Inglorious Bastards, King of the Hill.
Yeah,
Cotton.
yeah.
You want to kill a Nazi?
But really to the point. I mean, for you guys that don't know, we have these kind of discussions behind when we're coming up with these topics. We're like, this needs to be talked about. We've got to figure out a way that we can talk about this without getting pinged, which is absolutely asinine.
Oh, yeah.
People should be allowed to talk about this kind of stuff. And I don't understand why that stuff is so controlled these days.
Well, when
and that whole excuse of it can be offensive, history is supposed to be offensive.
Yeah. I do want to play devil's advocate for a phrase you use, which is the most common phrase, so we don't repeat it. Like, no history,
Mhm.
so you don't repeat it. I had this really amazing world history teacher about a year and a half ago who hates that phrase, who said that phrase is actually not true at all.
Which
Because
phrase?
That what?
mankind and certain leaderships are going to do the same thing over and over and over, whether they know it happened before them or not. Because it's this internal need and desire for to control
Oh,
humanity and to control their environment. And the people that do know about it, some are more likely to repeat those same exact things, thinking that they can do it better.
it
Well,
the thing. Okay,
greed is part of the human
Yeah,
condition, and then that is a
right.
great debate. That is great,
So
an absolute great debate. Mhm.
even knowing history, though, there are always going to be people out there that want to repeat that history because they think they can do it better. And I thought that was an interesting,
Uh,
like, other side of the coin to the knowing so we don't repeat
mhm.
it. It's like, wow. But
it's
some people
also
do want to repeat it, and that's messed up.
Well,
people
and
who
I'm sorry, go ahead, Hector.
tend to think that words are violence and thoughts are violence. People who are on that side of the spectrum tend to also they see tactics that these people used back then, like the Nazis and stuff like that. They see those tactics and they use those same tactics and they turn around and say, well, that's not us. Our name is completely different. Well, no,
Yeah,
you're using the exact same tactics as fascists and stuff like that.
It's just a
yeah,
different flavor that
Yeah.
you're getting behind. Yeah, no, I
yeah.
get it, but you also look at history again, and you'll have those times within history to where you'll have one group come through and try to destroy the history of another group. I mean,
That's
it's like
true.
these
Yes.
Holocaust deniers. I mean, I'm sorry, but whatever, man.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at you.
Yeah,
If you really think that the Holocaust did not happen.
yeah. You got a
So,
fucking problem that we can't help you
yeah,
with.
I'm laughing
There's
at you. I'll be laughing my way all the way to my bed tonight.
the people who are Holocaust deniers, and I think it's even they brought it up on Dan Cummings' time side.
Mhm.
And he
Yeah,
brought it up. If you are a Holocaust denier, you also believe the world is flat.
yeah.
You are one of those people who every time someone shows you proof that the world is not flat, shows you the curvature of the earth, the
And my problem with that
horizon.
is all these flat earthers don't even know who Terry Pratchett is. They don't know Discworld. They
Well,
can't tell me the name of the elephants that hold up the disc or
you're
the name of
right.
the turtle whose back they ride upon. If
But
you're going to
they
be a
say
flat
all
earther,
this
know your history.
when you come up to these people and stuff like that. They turn around and it's always, well, the main excuse they always give is, well, you know what? I have a million theories in my head. Theories are not proven.
That's why they're
The
theories.
world is not
They're
flat. Nazis were
theoretical.
assholes. Holocaust happened, and we need to remember this.
Yeah.
God's an astronaut. Oz is over the rainbow. Midian's where the monsters live, and you came to die. Sorry, that's a quote from my favorite movie. I had to throw it in there. I really often get to quote that one. So
I agree with Sven right
Let's
now.
call
Let's call them
la
all
la 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 la
Smurfs.
la.
Smurfs.
wait, that's not what Papa Smurf was.
Could we not? I mean, we could actually totally do.
he was more of like a David Koresh Jim Jones character.
Yeah, I can see that. Except for only one female.
Yeah, true.
That was made by their enemy.
Like yeah, by
It's made
Gargamel.
by Gargamel.
Gargle my balls. Yeah.
Okay, so
All right, so where were we? We
We're-
completely
we're-
squirreled out there for a minute.
Akio is still reading the.
Yeah.
Focus.
I have no clue.
You were right there. Start with the German occupation.
Oh, so following the German invasion of the Soviet Union on June 22nd, 1941, the Germans occupied Western Belarusia, which is before 1939. Western Belarusia had been part of Poland. After Germany invaded Poland in 1939, it was annexed to the Soviet Union by previous agreement with Germany. There, the German authorities killed tens of thousands of Jewish people in Novogrudok, or the Novogrudok district, including the cities of Lida and Novogrudok between 1941 ending in the spring of 42. They confined those that they did not shoot to ghettos through the district. And then when the German SS and the police units liquidated these ghettos in 1942, 1943, they killed most of the remaining inhabitants, which is something we already covered. You know. but I figured since we got so scrolled out,
Yeah,
I
that
would just
helps.
mention it again.
It's a good call.
Honestly, the brothers, the Bielski brothers were phenomenal, absolutely
Mhm.
phenomenal. Okay, I can't breathe anymore, so yeah, I'm not reading anymore.
Well, let's see. I'll pick up from there because I think I had in here.
I think you
Did have
know
some.
where I am on that.
Yeah, hold on just a
It's
second.
starting somewhere where I was gonna talk about the brothers establishing the partisan, which I think you already covered most of, because it's Tuvia,
Mhm.
Asdale,
Mhm.
and Zeus.
Yeah. Let's see.
The mission, which I think we talked about the mission already,
Yeah.
and the Nalaboki Forest. And the community in the
Mhm.
forest.
Yeah. Now they did wind up. Let's see. I'll go through this. The community in the forest. So until the summer of 1943, the group led a nomadic existence in the forest. In August of 1943, however, the Germans began a massive manhunt directed against Russian, Polish, and Jewish partisans in that region. They deployed more than 20,000 military personnel and SS and police officials. Moreover, they offered a reward of 10,000 Reichmarks for information leading to Tuvia Bielski's capture. The Bielski group, which had increased to approximately 700 Jews, was especially vulnerable to discovery by the German patrols. The group feared in part that the local peasants from whom they obtained food might betray them. As a result, the Bielski group moved in December of 1943 to what became a permanent base deep within the Nalbuki forest, which was a swampy, scarcely accessible region on the right bank of the Naim River, east of Lida and northeast of Narogrodek. Narogrodek.
Would have been a lot cooler if it was
Which one?
east of Lida, west of Kane. Lida Kane.
It's Novogrodek.
Novogrodek. Yeah.
Nova.
It was in this primitive and unlikely setting that the Bielski group created a community. Despite some opposition from within the group, Tuvia never wavered in his determination to accept and protect all Jew refugees, regardless of age or gender. The Bielskis never turned anyone away, permitting the creation of a mobile family camp. Now, the one thing that they would not allow, and you'll see this in some of the information, is they would not allow pregnancy. Like if it was a child that was looking for a safe haven, that was different. But as far as impregnation, babies were you were not allowed to have babies during this time. Not only was it because that it would be very dangerous for the mother, but they just did not have, because they had to stay mobile. They didn't really have the facilities to
They
care
didn't have
for
the
a
resources
pregnancy
either.
and a birth, and the resources, and if the mother died, who's going to take care of the baby, that kind of thing.
They had to. It was one of the stories that happened with.
Plus, babies are noisy.
Yes. One of the stories at the end, toward the end, was. Did you hear the same story on Mother where it was one of the night watch couple? They realized they hadn't had milk in a year, so they went and milked one of the cows, and they were caught, and they were basically put in the brig for like 3 or 4 days because of it. And it was
No, I didn't
also.
hear that one.
Yeah, they realized they had not had milk in a year, and milk, the cattle that was actually safe for children and the elderly, or mostly children,
Mhm.
I think. And they went and milked the cow, and they had a bucket of milk. Well, they left that bucket of milk right there at their guard stand or whatever it was,
Mhm.
and they were reported. And it was when they went up to what's his name again?
Tuvia.
Tuvia. He was
Activia.
ashamed for them. They were ashamed for themselves. They felt bad. They were like, "But we know," and they basically were thrown in jail for
Mhm.
3 days within their
Yeah.
camp.
Because once they established this community, I mean, it was a real community.
Yes.
Um, they had grouped. The group had organized skilled workers among the Jewish refugees. into workshops, which employed at least 200 people. They had cobblers, tailors, carpenters, leather workers, and blacksmiths. In addition, the group established a mill, a bakery, a laundry. The leadership managed a primitive infirmary and a school for the children and a synagogue. They even had a courthouse and jail. Work groups supplied the camp with food and cleared the land where possible for the cultivation of wheat and barley. Now, there was some cooperation with other partisan groups, and this would include at the time when they had set up this permanent base camp really deep within the forest. They would work with a lot of reconnaissance Russian military who were coming in, kind of getting feelers in order to try to take back parts of Belarus during the latter part of World War II. So they would work with them as well. And I do remember one story, and I don't know if you remember this, but the Germans would pretty much give up, okay, about looking for them because the inner parts of this forest were just so inhospitable. Like, you really had to be tough to be able to live in this forest because they survived here through the whole war. But there were 3 lost German soldiers that accidentally found their way into the village, and the women ripped them apart.
Good.
Yeah.
That's how angry they were, because most of these people, the Germans, the Nazis, the Nazi Smurfs, had killed most of their family. But they ripped them apart. Yeah. Because Tuvia wanted to actually put them on trial, and they didn't get it. That never happened.
Every time you say Tuvia in my head, I think Activia, and then that's the whole other.
I don't think anybody put Nazis on trials at the time, other than until after the war. Even when America was trying to clean things up, it's over there. Like, we would send when we started occupying our half of Germany. I guess that's the only way. The Allied half of Germany. The Germans had what they call werewolves and stuff like that, where they would go out as soon as their army was disbanded. They would go out and they would be they were terrorists. What we would do is we would go out and in the middle of the night, find them, tie them to a pole, and put a bolt in their head. That's exactly how they dealt with I'm sorry, not Germans, Nazis at the time. And there is no the Tuvio, or I don't think he understood. There was no way to deal with them. What are you going to do? Put them in jail? Send them? You might as well just go ahead and kill them and get it out of the way, because these guys literally are in the business of killing you. So.
Well, and that was like with the Nuremberg trials, which we should actually cover the Nuremberg trials at some point.
That's going to be a long one.
there wasn't a whole lot of time between the time that these higher officers were convicted and they were basically taken out back and taken care of. I mean, there wasn't years and years of sitting on death row. It was
one and done.
Taken care of quick. Yeah, one and done.
It's same thing with I was gonna say the Russians at the time too. Once they, even now actually, as early going back to like Chikatilo and stuff like that. Like, the minute Chikatilo was found guilty, they literally just was like, all right, 3 days later, he's dead.
And I want to reiterate, guys, again, if you're just coming in, we're not talking about a community or a group of people in today.
No,
this is 1941 through 43 that we're talking about.
Yeah, 40,
and that would be the Nazi Party.
1940. Yep. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Fire me.
I'm over here discussing Waco, by the way.
But I did want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Me, or is Sister's Mercy is playing in my head right now? Is it playing in your head too? Floodland.
I mean, it wasn't, but it is now.
But I did want to mention this now. According to partisan documentation, in the period from the fall of 1943 to the summer of 1944, the Bielski fighters carried out 38 combat missions, destroyed 2 locomotives, 23 train cars, 32 telegraph poles, and 4 bridges. This is also including they killed 381 enemy fighters, 14 Nazis, 17 policemen, and 33 spies and or provocateurs. That would be snitches. Snitches wind up in ditches.
Yep.
What did I say to you yesterday? There's only 3 things in this world that get stitches: the snitches, bitches, and Nazis.
Nazis. While the partisan group of the Bielskis only losing 50 members of the partisan group over this time period, so that's pretty awesome. They were pretty badass.
I wasn't making light the fact they were what they did. I'm just saying I was just trying to explain that their mission was completely different than the other partisans. Their mission was no joke to save,
more humanitarian.
Yeah.
So but they did disrupt a lot of stuff, and you know the whole gray man can take down an army.
There was
what they call it. Yeah.
There was a point where the Russians were trying to still incorporate them into the Red Army, and they flat out refused. They're like, "No, we have to save these people," and they wouldn't go. They absolutely would not incorporate into the Russian army at all.
Yeah.
So,
sorry. Yeah, I think all kind of I know that we're trying to keep it kind of under a certain time, but I think to all wrap it up, the youngest, I think, which was Assail Bielski, after Assail, he did wind up getting conscripted after the war by the Russian army and did wind up dying in battle. However, Tuvia
of 45.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
He died on the front lines in East Prussia.
Yeah.
In February of 45.
I think there was only 4 brothers that survived out of 10.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there were 12 children to begin
12
with.
children.
12 children in a 2-room house.
12 children to the parents.
They all stood up in the kitchen to sleep.
Yeah. How did they make all those kids in front of like with everyone around? No privacy. Heading out to the woods every 5 minutes. Jesus Christ, man. Pull out.
For mistake, man.
Yeah, but at the end of it all, there were only 4 left. Yeah.
From the people they saved from the 1200 spawned roughly was it 10,000, 20, almost 10 to 15,000 because they saved so many.
Yeah, and you know whose great grandmother was among the refugees that got out through the tunnel and went to the Bielskis?
Not Trump's grandson.
No. It
Ivanka, wasn't it?
Culture. Played in that '70s show.
Mila
Kunis?
No, the guy.
Oh. Which guy?
It's a bunch of guys.
Hold on.
Was it well, I know
Kutcher. Ashton
Kutcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know what was it they were saying on was it Trump's the one married to his daughter. I can't think of his one of his kids. I can't Kushner or something like that, wasn't it? Jared Kushner? No.
I don't know.
But anyway, their family, one of their grandmothers was saved by the Bielskis too.
That's right.
See, and that's
it was related
amazing.
to Ivanka. If it wasn't for them, Ivanka would not have wouldn't be here today.
Well, and I believe Tuvia, and I want to say it was Aaron Bielski. Aaron, I believe, was a New York taxi cab driver.
Yeah,
and Tuvia was a delivery truck driver for years in New York.
The 5th brother moved to America before the war started, and then when everything was over with, Tuvia moved. It was like in the 50s, though. It was after.
Yeah, it was after the war.
It was about 10 years after the war. He moved to America. They had a trucking firm together. One of them is still, or as of 2020, he was still alive. One of the brothers.
Yeah, 90-something years old. Yeah.
Hey, Everett.
Hey.
Yep.
I meant to star that. I didn't actually mean to bring it up this time, but since I brought it up.
Hello.
Everett, you're hitting us at the end, man.
Yeah, this one was a short one. This one was just a fun one to get out of the way.
Yeah. And these guys really do this. The Bielski brothers really do deserve recognition because you don't hear a lot about them.
No,
now
you
there
don't.
was a movie, Defiance, starring Daniel Craig, that is it's pretty historically accurate. I think the timelines are a little bit different. But if you want to watch a movie based on the Bielski brothers, it's Defiance.
One of my
So-
favorite actors is in it, Lee Shriver.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Leave.
It,
Yep.
Leave.
it
There
may
you go.
not seem like it, but I usually do read like the notes and stuff you guys send me. But this one in particular, I had never heard a lot about this, so I did
Sorry,
not
Rez.
read on purpose any of the notes that you sent me today because like I wanted to take the time like to have this conversation and like learn about it along with you guys. And that's my favorite part of honestly doing the show with you guys is
everybody.
Don't lie to us. You got too stoned for a second. You had
here and there.
You had to let it. You had to sit and chill for a minute. I'm kidding.
No, like like I said, I really do read the notes and I pay attention. But this time, I really wanted to be like, I don't know, I want to be like the audience, like learning with you guys, but also like discussing it with you because it's kind of fun, like to learn it on this spot and getting to just talk about it like while it's all fresh and I'm learning about it. So this is actually super interesting to me. I really like this one.
This was a fun one. This is a kind of a feel good. I know we talked about a lot of like really bad stuff that happened, but at the end of the day, it's a feel good story because the good guys won.
I think
in this
between doing because that's what we're talking about. Like this season's gonna all this season, and then it's gonna go into the summertime and stuff like that. But it's all about cults and stuff like that, and the weird stuff that goes along with them.
Although I
And
do
it's-
have a couple that are not going to be cool.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have palate cleansers in between there, which Akia has a few of them that she's.
I was going to say mine aren't exactly palate cleansers. They're pretty brutal.
But we can be okay. So
I know
we
there was a
have
couple we
ones
talked
where
about
can make
before.
jokes about.
Oh, I don't think that you can make jokes about something.
Is that a challenge? Are you challenging
Do
me?
you not know how morbid I am? You've been with me for how long?
Okay, fine. Black Wall Street Massacre.
Yep, I can
Yeah,
do
I
it.
can still make. I can still crack jokes.
That's going to be a serious one. That's going to be, and I don't know if we've decided if we're just going to do that on our website or not. Did we decide?
We
might have to do that one on the website.
'cause it's very brutal and it's very racially charged. Especially even for the time, it was very racially charged.
The zebra killings and stuff like that. There's also gonna there's gonna be a couple of them, guys, where you do need to go to our website and look at things and
But we'll
watch
announce
us.
And
it.
watch.
Yes, and
We'll
announce
let
it.
you know.
But,
So I have a question for everybody tonight. So would you guys sit with the Bielski brothers?
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah,
Yeah, man.
What was the line from What was the line from Men in Tights when
We're Butch.
No, when Mel Brooks came in and they wanted the
We're
set
men
from the
in
wine.
tights.
I love that
They
movie.
want, I'd sit around blessing everything with them just so we can have wine, all that stuff.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'd want to sit with them and watch the
Praise
episode
the
of Supernatural
blessed.
where Dean kills Hitler because I like that would be poignant.
See, I still get Hitler. I still get tickled knowing that Hitler is in hell taking a pineapple every day
Yeah, little
in,
bit.
in a maid's outfit.
in a French maid's outfit.
Yep.
So
That's an important
yeah,
part
we'd
of
all
that.
sit with them in a second.
No question on that one, man.
I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah.
the one brother is still alive in Florida, I think he still is. So he would be 97 today.
I wouldn't just sit with him. I'd share my weed with him, like 100%. Here you go, man. You
Mhm.
deserve
He's
this.
like, you good?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Here, take more.
Yeah.
What do we have coming up? So in 2 weeks we are starting our Jonestown, which is going to be a huge series. That's going to go probably all of April and into May. That's going
Not to be confused with the band Crazy Town.
We have yeah, they're probably worse. Never mind. We've covered it on Roots Bleed Red before, but this is getting a lot more in depth.
We are going to be playing.
So-
We're going to put it together, and it's going to be playing some tapes and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got
Jones-
some Jim Jones tape.
William, you got it wrong. It's not.
It's not tea.
It's Flavor Aid.
Flavor
Flavor
Aid.
Aid, man. And
He
I'm
couldn't.
gonna
He had to be cheap
drink-
even with that.
I'm gonna give you some Kool-Aid for that episode. Just to rub it in their faces that they couldn't afford Kool-Aid.
Was
You know, I can get Flavor
flavored,
Aid.
or was it purple
still
flavored
sell it
or
down
red
here.
flavored?
It was great.
Oh, I can
So,
still get Flavor Aid
right
here
over
too,
here.
but
Should we
You can
add
still
a
get
little
here. I
bit
just
of,
wanna rub it in their
almond
faces and do the
extract
Kool-Aid.
just to get the real feel?
yeah.
I've got almond extract too.
Not everyone can taste almond or smell it.
It's bitter almond. Not
Yeah.
everybody can smell bitter almond. Some
Yeah.
people can.
I can't smell anything right now, so.
Well, I hope you get to feeling better.
She's saying this is a good time to poison her because she won't know.
Is that what you're hinting at then? So
Guys,
yeah, and
go
I'll
check
be
us out.
on tomorrow night. We're finishing up Becky Tippy.
Yay!
Yay!
And Sunday we have the first Outlight Stories audio drama episode. We won't be on there live at all, but the story will be playing there for you guys. So.
Yeah. Check us out on Spotify. You can't sit with us or the PBDC Collective. You can find it on there. Google the PBDC Collective. You can see everywhere where we go for from our website to our podcasting and stuff like that. Because we are on several apps. Spotify, Stitcher. Yep.
iHeartRadio. You guys are enjoying it also. Like share links out there. Like get out there, post your links, our links all over your social media. Like let everybody know.
Also,
and look, guys, become a free member of our members only area. You guys missed a awesome 70s exploitation film the other night.
Lots of titties is what I heard.
Free. Oh, lots. We got the mature copy of it. So there was
website is updated right now. So if you guys want to go check that out as well, rootsbleedred.com. Because I tried real hard today to fix some hyperlinks. So
fucking hyperlinks.
And then I think we've got Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat coming back on the 27th. So.
Yep.
Woo!
Whoop, whoop.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna go eat. I rushed home. I was like, I forgot we were recording at the new time today, and not late at night anymore. So
I think we were all in a rush, though.
Yeah,
but this works out great.
Yeah,
like I've got other things I need to do, and I can get them done. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Like I said, I'm gonna go eat. I have not eaten all day. I have
so much writing to do.
I had a breakfast sandwich from Starbucks earlier. That was it. That is all I've eaten, and I am so hungry right now.
I had yogurt.
Yep.
I had a rib. I think.
Rib.
Just one rib.
Yeah, the Adams.
I like eating one potato chip.
We don't eat till late, but now we can eat it at an almost normal time with us going on sooner. But like that's all we had at the time. So
I'll snack later on the night. I'll eat like a little bit right now, and then I'll get stoned and be like, okay, I need everything to eat.
Speaking of, let's be able to eat.
Okay.
All right.
So.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Out.
Bye.